It is September and you know what that means. Book the day off school, contact your local coin dealer. Please, brother, I'm begging you. I just need an extra 100 coins for a SBC. And prepare for mental illness because FIFA is back. Or FC is back, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But before any of that actually happens, you need to decide whether you even want to buy the game. And that is what today is for. From career to clubs, from FUT to fucking up your table. This is every single new feature that's coming for FC 26. You lot stink. Oh, as if I've got to do this. I actually feel grim even touching it. I want to fucking kill myself. I'm never doing another light goal for anything again. Right. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. Do you know what I'm saying? Look, listen, if wait. If you don't laugh, you'll cry, honestly. Like a few weeks ago, I said that if a video got a certain amount of likes, I'd wear a kit of anyone's thinking, yeah? Assuming you lot, being the actual nice people that you are, would choose like a terrible football kit, like a really just bad design. No, you chose an Everton one, and now everyone's gonna disown me. Guys, this is so bad. It's really, really bad. My public image is fucked. Got a fucking sausage roll on my desk. Don't even ask me why that's here. This sponsor doesn't even exist anymore. This is a relic of time. So am I. I'm like an unk now. I'm not making it to 29 because the Liverpool fans are going to kill me off. Imagine I get seen at the next parade. I'm going to die. 7,000 likes. I will end my own suffering. Just like in the same way I got bullied into wearing an Everton kit though, and EA Sports' marketing campaign for FC 26 is them being bullied into just making the game fun again. Sorry, I keep glancing at myself in this and it's actually horrific. Let's be honest, your desk is still gonna look like Sadio Mane's hairline by the end of Weekend League. EA Sports right now already counting the pre-order money and the money they're going to be getting off scamming 4-year-olds into signing a new 5-star ketamine edition of Jack Grealish. Now, as I mentioned, the main thing EA are focusing on when it comes to FC 26 is the gameplay. You're going to see soon that there's not a crazy amount of new features, but it's because they've been putting all their effort into making 2 different types of gameplay experience. One is very fun, the other is very realistic, which kind of summarizes, I think, the polarization of what people want FC 26 or want a FIFA game to be. Competitive is for online gameplay, right? That's Ultimate Team, Divisions, Clubs, I assume. And it's a lot more faster paced. And then you've got Realistic, which is traditionally for offline and career mode. But for offline mode, you can just switch between the two. You don't have to choose one or the other. If you want to have the one from Ultimate Team, you can have that in career mode too. It means the gameplay should be a lot faster, allegedly a lot more dynamic, and attacking as well, which would be good. It would be nice to see my players make more than 3.5 attacking runs per game. I've said this for like the last 3 years on FIFA. Whilst I'm someone that doesn't play the game every single waking hour of my existence, I would honestly rather wear this for the rest of my waking existence than play that game. There'll be so many times where I'm wanting someone to make a run because there's a clear ball in behind, and I almost end up running into them. I'm trying to force them into the run so frequently. So in terms of the competitive gameplay, that's the one you're going to have online. Apparently there's a lot less auto blocks. The defender's just charging in front of everything. It's a lot more end-to-end, a bit more like a basketball game, a bit more entertaining from that perspective, and you'll have goalkeepers parrying the ball into better areas. I mean, I hope that's the case with realism as well, ideally. As I said, you can toggle between the ones that you want. If it does work and if it is entertaining, I will be using that in offline as well. Look, listen, some people play video games for realism, and that's fine. I love realism to that degree. A FIFA match lasts for, what, 11 minutes maybe. It's not as long as a full 90-minute match of football. Like, I don't need the same caginess that you're gonna have at times during a 0-0 draw across 90 minutes or a 1-0 tight game. I don't need that in a 10-minute game of FIFA because it will just get boring. Basically, they've tried to or attempted to change and improve on basically every single element of football, from dribbling, passing, and through to goalkeepers as well. Apparently, they've put cameras in different stadiums to try and pick up on behavior of goalkeepers, and oh no, what's that? Is that a camera pointing at Andre Onana? My goalkeeper's going to be having the time of his life, distracted in the 98th minute after he was based on Aaron Ramsdale for the year. I'm not going to just toe the party line for this video, by the way. I'm gonna caveat with the fact that we've been promised lots of things by EA when it comes to gameplay before. Every year they say that AI gets more intelligent. Bro, they're just as stupid as they were 4 years ago. But generally speaking, some nice crispness in terms of passing would be great, especially dribbling being a bit more like you can just cut past people without using skill moves would be cool. Speaking of which, there are some simplified skill moves as well that have been added to the game, but you basically just need to flick the stick in a certain direction and you'll get a cheeky little turn out of it. Low-driven shots have replaced manual shooting, which I think is good. Again, feels more traditional to real life. You get a lot of strikes that are put down into the bottom corner with pace. There's lots of new roles and play styles, which I'll have on the screen here as well. Those play styles include Aerial Fortress, which is a defensive player that is good in the air. They'll be able to jump higher. We'll have like a better physical defensive presence as well for aerial duels. Precision header, kind of again what it says on the tin. Not just raw power towards goal, you'll actually be able to direct it a lot more accurately if you've got this one. Inventive, which is for specializing in creative passes, combining and refining the former Flair and Trivela play styles. So you'll get a lot more Flair passes and back heels, little flicks here and there with this one. Game Changer, I'm seeing Bates and 87 on this one. Do they even still have EA Game Changer? I was in that for like 3 days. Did that change the game? No, I did not. This one is for a player who is known for extraordinary and unconventional finishes. I like that one. Again, kind of makes use of former play styles combining together. And then we've got shielding as well. A physical attacker who can take the ball and shield it a little bit better from a defender on the turn, which is another mechanic they've added to the gameplay a bit more this year. They've also got some new roles in terms of team management, but I think the team management menu and screen is so abhorrent, I'm not even going to show it to you. High contrast mode comes in for accessibility, but overall, the gameplay with all of this, yeah, it has to be good. I'll talk about it properly a bit more, but like, they have gone all in on this, right? It puts a lot of pressure on the game genuinely being fun to play, because if it isn't, there isn't a crazy amount of new shit to fall back on. And we'll start with career mode on that one. Again, listen, my roots are career mode on this channel. One of the big things they're pushing for career mode is Manager Live. This is basically situational. Different storylines, I guess, that you can complete with your manager for certain teams, for made-up teams, and you can win prizes is the overall kind of definition of it, I guess. Some of these tasks, some of these objectives or situations are quite short. They might be across like 5 games, whereas others can be quite long across multiple seasons, involving like promotions or keeping a team up or rising through the divisions of a certain country. And then once you finish those, if you want to carry it on, you can just play an entire career mode from that point, which I think is pretty cool. And then you can earn rewards like old kits or new kits for a made-up club if you want. There's also AI management movement. Bruv, get that United job ready and available off the rip. Amorim won't even have a job by the time this game comes out, so you might as well just leave that.
Sometimes I want to quit.
Yeah, there's a new manager market, so in the same way that players can move around to different clubs, managers can do the same, which I've always thought has been something that's been kind of missing from the game, but also at the same time, if it doesn't really add anything like changing how a team operates, how they play, or necessarily just how they're doing, the type of players they sign, it kind of doesn't matter all that much, but I guess it just keeps things fresh, doesn't it? Apparently, teams will hire managers based on their reputation and the tactics that they use, which means that for Arsenal, if they were to ever sack Arteta, to find similar tactics, they'd probably need to hire someone from Boko Haram. Graham Potter's going to be devastated when he finds himself at Hogwarts United in-game, and it's going to be linked to like commentary lines as well that are said before games, and I can already tell they've only filmed about 4 of them, and that's going to get really old very quickly. Half of the deep dive from this point onwards is literally just about the gameplay that I talked about earlier, which I think probably sums things up. But the one thing I am excited for, yeah, just because of the foolishness of it all, are these random events that have been added to career mode. These are something that used to be in manager mode ages ago, like something internal memos, I think they were called. And they're just random events that can happen that can change your team in a certain way. They can either benefit you or hurt you financially. They can maybe take away or add morale. Maybe you'll have the choice of 2 decisions in a moment, and you can either, you know, boost your affinity to the fans, or you can boost your affinity to the chairman. You can raise one player's morale, but in turn, it'll lower another player's. Some of the examples they've got here are international injury crisis, where Dominik Szoboszlai has come back from a Hungarian game and is nursing an injury for a long time. He'll do well to do that because these lot have got about 6 international teams in the fucking game. So how he's even managed to injure himself on international duty is a different ball game altogether. New ownership here as well under Tottenham, which is actually pretty well timed, to be fair. The club has been bought and is under new ownership. The new owners have lofty ambitions and are excited to start working with you. That could maybe give you a bit more in terms terms of finances. There were some interesting ones in the deep dive, like food poisoning. I can't wait to see that Kyle Walker can't make it into training in my Burnley career mode because he's tested positive for an STD. Newcastle fans, meanwhile, are going to be getting PTSD when their star striker comes into the office and says he doesn't like Greg's sausage rolls anymore. Meanwhile, you might want to steer clear of 67-year-old James Milner when his cataracts cause him to crash his car through your manager's office. You're dead now. It's a wrap. The save's over. There were some decent examples in the deep dive, like your team can get food poisoning and stuff, but a decent amount of these actually on the article that EA have done are just kind of repackaging emails and inbox items that you'd get from players anyway, like a player being homesick, for example, before proceeding to sign for a football club that plays 6 miles away from you, or maybe someone wanting a bit more game time. I think using Eddie Howe and a Newcastle player during the part where a player wanted to leave was a little bit too close to home from EA as well. Either way, you can toggle them on and off if you want, and you can make them really regular if you want to. I personally would probably put the regularity to high just because I like carnage. And the final thing is that you can get in-depth data from other leagues as well. Only 5 of them in total, and you get, I think, stats from like the previous 5 seasons as well. Stuff that you could do in Football Manager from years ago, and it is nice, but they are very basic stats. You get like the amount of goals they've scored and the amount of games they played from what I can tell on the menu, which doesn't really add a crazy amount, to be honest with you. A good striker's probably scored quite a lot of goals. I might want to know other things that might fit my team a little bit better, if that makes sense. Then we've got Ultimate Team, where there are some new things, but not a crazy amount, to be honest with you. Tournaments are back. That's the first thing that they wanted to talk about, and that's good. I think a lot of people have wanted those back. And they come with like an extra little new thing as well, which is this thing called Gauntlets. If you play a tournament, you lose a game, you go back to the start, right? Winners progress. Not the case with a Gauntlet. It's just the amount of wins that you get decides how good your rewards are at the end. But the twist is that you have to play with a completely different team every single time. So it means that players that are in your club that don't get used very often still do have a purpose on top of like SBCs. Bounties are the most hated chocolate in the country. I like them, personally. I don't know if that stopped booing me, man. But bounties in this game are like these little rewards that you can get during the course of Weekend League. They can range from like a pack, you know, or maybe extra season pass points, but generally speaking, they're just little things. FUT Champs playoffs are officially deaded and they're not coming back, and disconnects apparently are a little bit more improved, so you don't have someone quitting because they've conceded a penalty or they've got themselves a red card and then you still draw the game somehow. In that situation, you would now get the win. There's also things about Evos, but genuinely, I honestly couldn't care less. I would rather sellotape myself to my bedroom wall for 6 to 8 business weeks than get involved in that. But the crucial thing about Ultimate Team is that there's still going to be 47 types of special cards every single week. And honestly, look, I know it's a money-making scheme, yeah, and it attracts the new ADHD breed of child. Yeah, I'm talking kids that can't scroll through TikTok without having 6 other phones that are also on TikTok at the same time. And look, listen, I probably sound a little bit out of touch, yeah. I also have a short attention span, though, so I understand, but I think FC25, EA Sports, they do too much. Like, there was actually a time where cards were worth something. Bro, remember the times where it was just like Team of the Week, Team of the Season, and Team of the Year, fam? And then you'd get them orange ones, like, every now and again. They'd build an orphanage or something, and you'd get an orange card. I don't even know what those did. I honestly have no idea what those were, even to this day. But I remember getting one and being confused at first and then being gassed afterwards. There's cards that have got birthday cakes embedded in them, fam. The designs have gone too far. Anyway, sorry, yo, I'm getting off topic. This is not what I'm supposed to be talking about. And then the final thing is clubs, which didn't even get its own deep dive video, which it's not looking good. I swear down. But a lot of it is kind of updates on what they added in recent years. So it's basically the first half of this genuinely is them just explaining what archetypes are, which if you don't know is if you obviously create a player on Pro Clubs, you can choose a certain archetype, certain type of player they're gonna be, in essence. You can then build your attribute gain towards. There's also different perks that go alongside these archetypes that are, I mean, there's a lot of them, I'm not gonna lie, which is cool for customization. Again, I'll have some of them on the screen whilst I'm kind of explaining this. There's actually loads, and they do really contribute to having quite a unique style of Pro Clubs player. I like this attention to detail that they've actually added to clubs recently. When I was growing up, I was a clubs man. big facts, yeah. Get home from school, you would play with like 7 of your mates or something, and it would be hilarious, right? It was always the most fun you'd have playing FIFA. There was about a 7 or 8 year stretch where clubs was just massively overlooked. Didn't give a fuck about it, whatever, as in like they didn't give a fuck about it. But in fairness, in recent years, they have done a decent amount to actually, you know, to change that. There's also new live events that are going to be in FC26. There are elimination knockout tournaments that can be played across Rush as well, which we haven't even mentioned at all in this video. Fam, EA forgot they made that last year, I swear down. These all have different entry requirements as well. Some will need you to have a certain archetype or certain level of archetype. Some will need your club to have a certain reputation. And there's also different cool like house rules and little events, I guess, within these. They've revamped the club's lobby to just make it look like the Ultimate Team one. And you can now be a member of up to 3 clubs at the same time, which is nice. You don't have to just be part of one team. You can also have a couple on the side. There's even more facilities this year, which will improve your AI players. And as I mentioned earlier, clubs uses competitive gameplay or the much faster one that I was talking about earlier on. There's lots. There's actually even more, to be fair, on the clubs one if you want to have a read of that yourself. But either way, that's pretty much every single new thing that's coming to FIFA. Again, my conclusion is this has got to be a fun game to play. If it's not, it's a wrap. This is not going to be a game that's going to go down in the history books. It's going to be like a little evolution, I guess, of FC25. Because not much visually has changed. There's not much, like a crazy amount in terms of new features. Certainly in terms of like career mode and Ultimate Team especially. So the game has got to be fun. And if the game was fun, then hey, listen, might see some videos back on the channel. And if you do want to see that, let me know by liking this video, okay? 7,000 likes, and I'll be bringing FIFA videos back to the channel, okay? Also got some cool short form stuff as well planned too. So if you're looking forward to that, make sure to subscribe. At 800,000 subscribers, I will be getting a Liverpool tattoo, contrary to what I'm wearing. This has got to come off, actually, by the way. Fucking Jesus Christ. Like, subscribe, comment, bomber clat, shout out, EA, maybe, if it's a good game. Peace and love, I'm out of here, mate.